Good morning and welcome to Dental Digital Marketing Discussions. My name is Jack Hadley with My Social Practice, and I have a special guest with me today, Genevieve Poppe. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, Jack.
Yeah, so I've been looking forward to our visit today, and you're out in Madison, Wisconsin, is that right?
That's right. I'm a cheesehead.
And you're visiting with us from your office today, is that right?
That's right.
Tell us about that little, those look like flowers behind you. What's on the wall?
They're actually poppies, like my last name. And I have sort of a mid-century modern vibe going on in my office. It's efficient and it's a look I like. So that's what you're seeing behind me.
Very, very nice. I love mid-century stuff. So very cute. Well, as our audience knows, at My Social Practice, we think about social media all the time, but we recognize it as part of a broader marketing strategy for dental practices. And so I've been talking to people that we really admire in the industry and asking them to bring 3 quick ideas for quick discussions, things that they can do in their practices and ways to think about marketing their practices digitally. And you've come to the table today with 3 ideas that we're going to talk about in just a moment.
Right.
But before we do, let me read just very quickly kind of your official bio,
Okay.
at least a portion of it here.
Okay.
So Genevieve has been in dentistry for 20 years and has worked in almost every position within the dental practice, from dental assisting to owning and managing practices to facilitating numerous practice acquisitions and transitions and relocations. You've had a great deal of experience, I can tell here, in looking at coaching dental teams in patient care, customer service, insurance, procedures. Is there anything that you have not done in a dental practice?
Well, I'm not a dentist.
Okay.
So I guess that would be off my plate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. But I think you've done about everything else.
Everything else that I can do, I've pretty much had my hands in along the way.
Well, that's awesome. I'm sure that that brings great insight for our discussion today, too. There is one little thing, though, I want to ask you about. I understand, I heard from a little birdie, that you are like a champion leg wrestling pro or something. Tell us about that.
It's more of a self-proclaimed leg wrestling champion. I have not professionally leg wrestled. However, I will tell you that I have seldom in my party trick leg wrestling career ever lost. Like I can think of one time. So.
Okay, everyone.
I cannot provide video or tape because I would not want to be seen doing it, but I can tell you that I'm pretty good at it.
All right. So our audience knows next time you see Genevieve at a trade event of some kind, you challenge her right then, just wherever you are, on the show floor, wherever you are.
Be prepared for the humiliation to ensue. I don't lose. It's my one thing I'm really, pretty good at.
That's awesome. All right. We appreciate you sharing a little insight. It's fun to get to know people at a different level besides all the amazing things they do in their profession.
Right.
So.
I'm not a world-class athlete by any means, but I am a pretty darn good leg wrestler.
I love it. I love it. All right. Well, you sent along before we got started 3 ideas that you want to talk about. And as you probably know, we try to make this kind of rapid fire. And so what I have is I have a little timer here, and we're going to actually limit our discussion of each one of these points to 4 minutes.
Okay.
And when the 4 minutes are up, we have to stop talking about it. Okay?
Okay.
All right. You up for the challenge, huh?
I'm ready. Yes.
Okay. All right. The first idea that you sent along was the idea of planning and planning your moments, that until social media, for example, becomes kind of part of your daily habit, it's a good idea to plan. So talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah. I've seen some other people cover the idea of a social media calendar, and I think that's smart. But what I try to help my clients do, I talk to a lot of them. They get jazzed up about the idea of sharing more of a personality of the office on Facebook. But the problem is that they forget. I talk to them. What have we posted? Nothing. So what I do with them is I'll take a look at the coming months, March coming up, and I'll say, okay, let's think of anything that we can celebrate in the office with our patients that would also translate to a Facebook-worthy moment. Personally, I like Facebook posts to be a reflection of ways that we're having a good time with our patients or a good time with our doctors and teams together, rather than, fun facts and quizzes. So, and obviously, pictures are what people like to see. So for instance, for March, we might decide as a group that there's St. Patrick's Day, and we want to do something fun for St. Patrick's Day. So we'll list that out. We're going to decorate the office. We're going to have a Facebook contest. March Madness is coming up. We come up with fun ideas that we can share. And then I have them break it down and assign those steps into how it's actually going to happen. Because if they just talk about doing it, the leap from the idea to it happening is often sort of missed. So, I assign who's going to the store to get paper shamrocks. Somebody's got to raise their hand for that. Who's going to take the picture of the reception area decorated and post it to Facebook? Who's going to take a picture of the contest winner for our pot of gold contest? And so until they realize how much goes into making these spontaneous moments actually happen on our Facebook page, I really recommend planning it out and thinking about it ahead of time. And the other thing I like about those ideas is that they're also moments to make people in the office feel special and to set our culture and our environment for people in the office apart.
Yeah.
It's not just with the notion of something to put on Facebook. It's something great happening for our patients that we share to Facebook.
Yeah. What a great way to think about it. I know that spontaneous doesn't really happen spontaneously, does it?
I think I've seen some offices that get good at evolving to it, where they start to realize that when something fun's happening, they get good at snapping a picture.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes a lot of practice to change those habits. Otherwise, we just get very stuck in going through the motions of our day.
Yeah, yeah. I like your idea of identifying team members and being very specific about how they can contribute, because there's a lot of ways to contribute, and it doesn't necessarily mean that everybody has to be in front of the camera. If somebody's not comfortable in front of the camera, that doesn't mean they can't participate in the strategy. So I like your idea of being very specific with people.
Yeah, and everybody can play a role in this, like you said, even if they don't like to be the one in the picture or they're not comfortable posting to Facebook. Maybe they can be the person who figures out who won the pot of gold.
Yeah.
They can count the entry slips and see who got closest, or they can be the person who likes to come in on a Friday and decorate the office. Mm-hmm. So I just have found that if people don't plan to share these moments and they don't really talk about what goes in behind it, it just doesn't happen.
Great advice. Thank you. And we are 10 seconds off. That is also perfect timing. All right.
Perfect.
Thank you. That was great. Number 2.
Okay.
Second idea, use social media to retain patients and to remind them in between visits of why they love you. I like that. Tell us more what you think.
I think that's personally the most powerful function of social media. A lot of offices fight this retention battle. We always have to call on recare and keep people coming back in. And I think that using those moments that are patient-focused happening in an office and showing patients that already come to you how much fun people have when they're in your office is a really powerful retention tool. Mm-hmm. So when they see that it's Susie's birthday and there's her cake and that's their favorite hygienist, they remember her. When they see that Dr. Smith did this awesome fun thing for his community, and took pictures and the team was all involved, they remember them. And staying memorable and staying, top of mind for our patients in between those 6-month visits, I think there's no better avenue than social media to do that.
Yeah. I've always thought it's interesting. I used to watch the biography channel a lot on TV. I don't do that much anymore, but I found that it didn't really matter a lot of the time who the biography was about, even if I didn't know who it was or whatever, because as human beings, we have interest in other human beings.
Yes.
And I think people like doing business with people they know and like. And so I think you don't want to overdo it. Like, you got to find the happy medium. But I think people are very interested in things that other people are doing.
They are. It shouldn't be contrived. It shouldn't be hokey. But if you really think about it, fun things happen in your office that your patients would like to see or be a part of at least a couple times a week. You know, it's somebody's birthday, or somebody brought their puppy in, or somebody had a baby, or your hygienist's celebrating 20 years. You know, there's almost always something that your patients do care about. You know, I always laugh and tell them, look, if nothing will get more Facebook likes than your dog, you know?
I know.
So people like to know you on that level. And as a consultant, something I really work with teams on is building rapport and building relationships in the office. And so translating that goodwill and keeping it going, you know, on your Facebook page, I think, you know, tooth facts and hokey things like that. If you need some filler or there's something that's kind of funny or on topic, that's great. But
Right.
the things that are most meaningful to patients is the connection they have to the people that work there.
Yeah. And I like the way you started your little sentence here that you sent me. You talked about retaining, and it's the things that we do should have a why behind them. And it just makes good business sense to do these things because of how it helps with retention and decreases attrition in the practice.
Right. You know, everybody wants more new patients. We fight the new patient battle. There's always competition for new patients. And I love getting new patients, don't get me wrong. But the easiest possible thing you can do for your practice to really contribute to growth is to keep the ones you have.
Yeah.
And people like, it's sort of, I call it the Amazon review theory. People like to go where other people like to go. Mm-hmm. And if they see pictures of your patients and your team having a good time without them, it reminds them why they like to go there.
Yes, it's a good point. Well stated. Boy, you are right on time. You are only 10 seconds out again. Excuse me. So the timer didn't even go off. What?
Good. I've been trying to spit it all out.
Yeah, you were at 3:50.
Okay.
All right. Third idea. Let me read what you sent me. Be ready. Excuse me. All right. Be ready to convert your leads and inquiries. Be ready for tough questions and give people a reason to choose you. So this sounds like it revolves around preparation to actually convert these kinds of conversations into leads. And so tell us what you're thinking.
One of the biggest, it's funny you talk about my bio, for all that I know about the operations of a dental office. One of the biggest ways I spend my time with them is actually helping them convert leads to patients. You know, it's almost a precursor question at this point that patients are going to call you and say, do you take my insurance?
Sure.
And I listen to calls, you know, recorded all over the country. And what I hear is the same thing over and over again, is that people really stumble in how to tell patients what we can do for them and how to overcome their questions and objections and build a connection with them on the phone to turn them into a patient. So, you know, if there's a special out there, make sure your whole team knows about it. For God's sakes, you know, don't have your marketing person put out this $49 new patient special while the person answering the phone has never heard of it. You know, I see misfires like this all the time that really throw people off, and our phones are really that first line of defense.
You know, it surprises me to that point. I am so often, we would think that it would just be natural to, in fact, we struggle with this even in our own company. We'll roll something out, and there'll be parts of our company that either didn't hear about it or it wasn't explained clearly. And I think that's always a problem inside a company, is making sure everybody's on the same page.
Absolutely. Yeah. And make sure that you have, if you're encountering the same tough question over and over again, find a solution to how to answer it differently. It's funny because I think actually our industry hurts people a little bit this way, in that we have come to label people who ask about price or insurance as price shoppers or insurance-driven patients. And anytime you read about that, you read about it with a negative connotation that blames the patient.
Right.
And the reality is that's the world. People will call and ask those questions, and they're going to land somewhere. So it should be you. You should stop judging them for asking that question and learn a different way to respond to it. And This one I could talk about all day, so you might have to pull me off the stage, but it's so hard for me to watch practices have successful leads to their office, where they can generate sometimes 30 or 40 calls off their new campaign. And then I listen to the calls and they've converted 3 of them to an appointment. It's sometimes really that bad.
Yeah.
And then the dentist called their marketing company and said, we need more new patients.
Right.
The reality is there's a little bit of retention problem, like we've already talked about, and there's a really big conversion problem.
Yep. It's hard for us when we hear those same things. So we get this in our mind, and people just are people, and they tend to respond the same way. And yet, like you just said, I mean, this is for that patient or prospective new patient that called in, this is the first time that they've asked about insurance or asked about price. This is a new space for them, even though you've heard it 1,000 times.
Right.
So hearing it differently.
We're very reactive in our responses to these people, and we get very rote in terms of giving the same. I hear very well-intentioned people who know a lot about insurance essentially explain to new patients why they should go somewhere else.
Yeah.
All the time.
Exactly.
And so, and that's another thing that takes practice, and it takes teaching yourself to respond differently and teaching yourself to think about those callers differently.
Yeah.
And find a way to tell them what you can do for them.
I've noticed that when you talk about digital marketing and about social media specifically, a lot of times we create this very accepting and honest and transparent and fun feeling and culture on social media. But when the patient calls, our time's up, but let me finish the thought.
Yes.
When a patient calls, if their experience on the phone doesn't align with what you've put out there as your culture, there's a real problem there. That
a disconnect in that moment.
A real disconnect, yeah. And so it's not enough to be fun and cool and engaging on social media if the experience on the phone isn't empathetic and kind.
Exactly. You took the words out of my mouth. Exactly.
That's a great point. I appreciate you bringing that one up. Well, what 3 awesome ideas. Very thoughtful.
Thank you.
Thank you, Genevieve. Those were great. Now, as you probably know, in conclusion, we always have a little quiz, and you're going to have the opportunity to answer. I have 5 questions prepared about either current events, silly trivia, or something crazy. And as soon as you answer 3 of the 5 correctly, you win, except you don't win anything.
Right.
Darn. It's because
it's order a practice wins something for me.
That's right. So we asked you to submit the name of a dental practice that you were going to be playing for, and it's Fritsch Dental Group. And I'm going to share my screen here. Hold on a second. Share screen. And I'm going to click on this, and we're going to show Fritsch Dental Group. Kelly Henderson, right?
There's Dr. Henderson and Dr. Welch. There's 2 dentists there.
Oh, great.
It's hard for me because I work with a lot of really great offices, but this is a great little office just outside of Amarillo in Fritsch, Texas.
Great. Well, I'm sorry we don't have both doctors on there. I think Kelly was the contact name, and so I think the designer put him on there. So
that's good. No, thank you.
And this one of the practices that you work with.
This is one of the practices I work with. Yes.
All right, great. All right, so we're going to be playing for My Social Practice is going to treat Fritsch Dental Group to lunch if you can answer 3 of these 5 questions correctly. Okay. All right, ready?
Yes.
Ready for the challenge. Question number 1.
Okay.
Last night at the Oscars, what was the big mistake everybody's talking about today?
This would be sort of the Miss America moment where they announced the wrong movie for Picture of the Year, right?
You are correct. The answer.
Warren Beatty.
Yeah, wasn't that wild? And I guess all of this morning the accounting firm has been apologizing like crazy that they handed them the wrong card.
I'm sure somebody's in trouble.
Yeah, I'm sure someone's going to lose their job. All right, good. You're 1 for 1.
Yay.
Question number 2. A Guinness World Record was awarded this week that bridged the gap between robotic technology and what sport?
I have no idea.
This one's tough. This one's tough.
Okay.
Unless you like listen to the news 24 hours a day, I don't think you would
This
have
one
seen
might
this
have slipped
story.
by me. Yeah.
Okay. Well, believe it or not, the first ping pong robot tutor was developed and was awarded a Guinness World Record. And what's amazing about this is they built this robot that can analyze how well you play ping pong and then compete and teach you how to play ping pong better depending on your skill level.
Isn't that crazy?
Isn't that wild? So
That's really incredible.
it analyzes your body and your movements, and then it learns how to play with you to help make you better. Isn't that something? The merging between technology and our physical world is just, and that has a lot to do with digital marketing, I think. There's a connection between digital and our physical space that's really changing. All right.
Okay.
The 1 for 2.
Uh-oh.
Okay, number 3. How many strings does a violin have?
4.
Awesome. You are correct.
I used to play viola, so I know this.
So
yes.
you know this. All right, good. You're 2 for 3. Ready?
All right.
Question number 4. What professional sports team celebrated its 91st anniversary this week?
I would guess it's a baseball team, but I have no idea.
This is a difficult one as well.
Come on.
The Harlem Globetrotters. Have you ever seen the Harlem Globetrotters play basketball?
I have not seen them in person. I've certainly seen them, like doing their thing.
Yeah.
Regis, back in the day with Regis Philbin, I remember him as a kid.
Yes. 91 years they've been doing this, and they just celebrated their anniversary this week. So,
okay.
All right. So you are, let's see, what are you, 2 for 4? So
I'm not doing very good here. You're gonna have to lob me up an easy one.
It all comes down to this last question. What is the name of the tiny fairy in Peter Pan?
Thank you. Tinkerbell.
Oh, you are correct. Yes.
Oh.
You got your 3 out of 5. Very, very well done. Thank you for playing.
For not making me be the first one to fail this quiz.
Well, our friends at Fritsch Dental Group out in Fritsch, Texas, are going to be treated to lunch courtesy of you and my social practice. How about that?
Thank you for doing that for them. That's awesome.
Okay, well, it's our pleasure. Before we get sign off here, I do want to make sure that we have your contact information for all of our viewers if they want to get a hold of you. This is your name, and Poppe Practice Management is the name of your company. There's your phone number, 608-358-3370. And they can reach you, Genevieve, at poppepracticemanagement.com, which is also the URL for your company, correct?
Correct.
Okay, good. Well, we encourage everyone to get a hold of Genevieve if you've got questions about what she does or some of the things that we talked about today. And finally, before we sign off, we are doing these dental digital marketing discussions in part in preparation for the Dental Digital Marketing Conference. So I just want to make sure our viewers have that information. I'll give you the URL in April in Las Vegas. We are having this is our 3rd year. We have a 2-day conference, and it's built totally for dental digital marketing. You can watch a little video on the website about the things we did last year. You can look at the schedule and see if it's a good fit for your practice. And if it is, we'd love to see you there. And are you going to be out at the conference? I can't remember, Genevieve.
I have not booked it yet, but I actually, I just realized that it's clear, and I've been very interested to do so. So
let us know. We'd love to have you out there if you do decide it's something you want to attend. So, all right. Well, let me unshare my screen here for a minute. Hold on. And stop sharing. All right. Let's see where we are. Well, thank you again for spending time with me, Genevieve. And we'll look forward to the next time. I'm going to be out in Madison in the first week of April. I think it's April 6th. So maybe we can
Maybe we'll see
shake
each other
hands.
twice in April.
Yeah, maybe we can talk face to face.
That would be wonderful. You just give me a call or an email, and we'll plan to.
I'll practice up on my leg wrestling.
Okay, maybe we can film it and share it for media.
You got it. All right. Well, thanks.
All right.
Okay.
So much, Jack.
Talk to you soon. And that's all today for Dental Digital Marketing Discussion. See you next time. Bye.
Bye-bye.